and has been involved in the medical field quite a few years.
All right. Thank you, Dixie. Okay, it's nice to be back here for the third year, and I'm Roberta Schiff. I'm with the Mid-Hudson Vegetarian Society in Rhinebeck, New York. I have known Milton Mills for a number of years. He's been our speaker for the Meat Out twice, and we always see each other at Vegetarian Summerfest in Pennsylvania. And about 3-4 years ago, Dr. Mills said, well, why don't you make some food samples for one of my programs? I said, okay. And then he said, and why don't I give you a few minutes and you can talk about the food. So I've been very pleased to be part of some of his programs for several years. So he's the headliner and I'm the opener. And we have a new topic. Dr. Mills has some wonderful presentations, about a dozen of them. But Dixie said to him, could you talk about the Paleolithic diet? So he said yes, and so that's what we're doing. So I am going to give you a brief overview. I call it the Paleo Diet Explained, and then Milton will talk about what it does to you and why you might not want to do it. So what I learned in preparing for this is that the Paleolithic period of history goes back, prehistory actually, 2.5 million years ago to about 16 to 20,000 years ago. So this was before people did agriculture, before they domesticated animals. So, you know, what did these long ago ancestors eat? There was no 7-Eleven to go in and get a big gulp. Couldn't get a burger, even a veggie burger at Burger King. Couldn't even go out and pick some green beans from the garden. So what they did eat, as far as we know, because the Ice Age did a good job of wiping out the fossil record, but there were animals and fish that they could catch with their hands or with a stone, or I think there's one right here, yeah, a sharpened stick. So that was one of the tools that they had, like the monkeys used to get the termites. And whatever kind of plants that you could forage. Leaves, berries, fruits, tree nuts, seeds, eggs, mushrooms. And if you're thinking about maybe going paleo, forget the rice, forget the dairy, because those had to come about through agriculture. And there weren't even things like potatoes or corn, because those were developed with human intervention from inedible or practically inedible prototypes. People have been crossbreeding and developing plants and animals for consumption long before we even had GMO. So within these primitive categories, some people go meat heavy, some people go veg heavy, no supplements, no alcohol. If you should happen upon some fruit fermenting naturally by itself, you can slurp that up. And I learned in my detailed research, you can chew on cannabis leaves, so that might be a plus.
What do you mean?
And, yeah, on the leaves. You know, there are a lot of public versions of the Paleolithic diet, a lot. And one of them is Art Devaney, the Paleo Diet for Athletes, and this is a famous quote from him. I consider vegans a good source of fiber. And I was discussing this with Bob Linden, he said, that's not true, mussels don't have fiber. And I said, well, you know, when carnivores kill, they go for the contents of the digestive tract first. So I think we vegans probably are a better source of fiber than the McDonald's eaters. So then there's people who eat a Paleolithic diet to prevent disease, like Stefan Lindeberg writes about, and then Rob Wolf, and this is the best-selling book on the subject, and he calls it the original human diet. He does say you can add some dairy, but dairy is Neolithic. Dairy is not Paleolithic. Neolithic is earlier later than Paleolithic. And he does say for people who do really, really hard workouts, they can have sweet potatoes. So that's an incentive there. And then there's the Paleo Diet Revised and the Paleo Diet Cookbook by Lauren Cordain. He says paleo people have to eat grain-fed cattle, but the others all say grass-fed. But then I researched, well, when did people start hacking up cows anyway? And I found that wasn't until about 7,000 years ago. So cows are not really paleo either. And, and this guy Cordain, he says you can have artificial sweeteners. I wish we had time to question the appropriateness of this within the paleo ethic, but we have to move along. And then I learned about Ray Audette. He's the author of Neanderthal. Now, this title, it just blows me away, and I thought about, could I get up there in San Francisco wearing animal skin? No, I'm vegan for life. I can't do that. So, and his books are out of print anyway. And then there's the whole numeral 9 life diet. You go paleo for 30 days and no whey. This is W-E-I-G-H. And then Guy Claude Berger wrote the Instincto Diet. And, okay, listen carefully to the definition. A system of sequential mono-eating. And I think I know what he means because I have a crabapple tree and there's a deer who comes, and when the crab apples are falling, and she eats until you would think her belly couldn't hold anymore. So that's what you do. You just eat one food till your body says enough already. Okay, then there's a man named Y. Genrurio, and he's, this is the all raw, so for proponents of raw, the paleo people didn't leave you out either, and should have a lot of fruit, fish, eggs. Vegetables are discouraged on this one, but a lot of eggs, so it is a salmonella encouraging diet. And then there's the no carb diet. It's ketogenic, and it reduces oxidative stress, stops tumor growth, and the great American quest, weight loss. Okay, and the New Age caveman and the city, I think that would look good on the coffee table, don't you? And this one you fast for 36 hours every few days. And then there's Paleo Plus calorie restriction, double your fun. But you do have to order the chronometer to do this. I'm not making this up. And then the book, I wish I could have spent more time with, Man-Eating Bugs. No, the insects do not eat us, we eat them. And supposedly consuming insects produced brain development that was needed to write books. You don't like that one, but actually it is the paleo people probably did eat a lot of insects, especially most who finished eating the more squishier ones, because as Dr. Mills pointed out to me, the chitin in the grasshopper type bugs is indigestible, right? It's crunchy. Okay, and then there was the animal fat, the high-fat, low-carb diet. I call that the lacto-paleo diet. And then Anajus Wunderplants, he wrote the, what did he write? Oh, the primal diet. Raw fruit, raw meat from all natural sources. His book is We Want to Live. Zero carb, all animals all the time, and dairy's okay. Another take on lacto-paleo. And so, well, now you, I don't mean you individuals here, but if someone you know has decided to go paleo, they'll want to start eating what was trendy around 500,000 years ago. So they're going to eat meat, but it should be smaller animals. And I went through Rob Wolf's book, and every breakfast seems, well, not every breakfast, about 4 out of 7 have a ham slice. So I don't think people caught pigs with these little stones and sharpened sticks, but that's what he recommends. And, they all recommend beef, but I think that people ate mice and lemurs and Were there squirrels then? Well, squirrels are kind of hard to catch too. So, so for vegetables, no markets, no gardens, only what you can gather up wherever you can walk to, remembering you don't want to walk so far that you burn up more calories than you actually consume. And, what are you going to do in the winter? And even broadening it out and saying, okay, you can go to the market. Where are you going to find plants similar to the ones that grew in the Paleolithic period? Where are you going to find those tough, stringy greens or those little, tiny, hard, tart fruits? They don't seem to be around anymore. So I thought, well, how can we do this then? And even though there's a lot of books, I think there needs to be another one. And I would call it the Approximal Paleo Diet. Because that's about as close as you're going to get right now to what was actually eaten 500,000 years ago. And I could see this, I could visualize it on the New York Times bestseller list in the how-to self-help section. And should we write that? You want to get started? We could have finished by next year. He's not too enthusiastic. Yeah, okay. So Michael Greger was supposed to have been here, and his father had surgery. He's not here, and but I'm going to quote him anyway, because at a conference a few years ago, someone said to him, Dr. Greger, I've heard we're a lot like the great apes, and that there's a great ape diet, and what do you think of that? And if you know Michael, you can kind of hear him say this. He said, well, yeah, that would be a really good idea, as long as you are willing to consume large amounts of dirt, leaves, insects, and feces. So that's food for thought, right? So, and then I just want to finish quickly on a little more serious note. I think that almost all of these niche eating plans they're very elitist. Exclusively grass-fed beef can never be available for large numbers of people, and neither can organic vegetables. And as vegans, we can feel better that we're doing more than most people are to reduce hunger in the world by our diet choices. But we can do even more. We've had some speakers about this here already. I found a very moving article. It's called Remembering a Hungry Childhood. And the author is Peter, K-I-M-E-U. And if you just want to put that into Google, it will come right up. And he said that hunger is the most unforgivable disease because it's the easiest one to cure. And the latest figures show that 13.5% of our population of 6.8 billion people are hungry today, 1 in 7. And a phrase from his article that has stuck with me is, I slept like that, which is what people in his area would say when they went to bed hungry many, many nights. So, and it's not just a problem in developing countries. Now 1 in 4 children in this country live under the poverty line. And President Obama has pledged to reduce or to eliminate childhood hunger by 2015. I really don't know what his plan is. I need to learn more about that. So let's do, all of us, continue to do what we can to nourish ourselves with good vegan food that uses so much less water and electricity and oil and does not require 70% of grain grown to be fed to animals. And then let's move on and direct our energy towards helping those who have so very little of anything to eat. So thank you very much. And